Let's just jump right in. We're talking about a totally universal, everyday experience that, believe it or not, comes with a massive hidden biological cost. We've literally all been there. And in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly what is happening beneath the surface of your skin when you do it.
I want you to picture that specific moment. You know the one. You're sitting there, maybe at your desk, and suddenly, your throat tightens up. Your eyes start to sting. And you make that split-second decision to just hold it in. You force it down, but have you ever stopped to wonder what actually happens to that energy? Like, where does a swallowed tear actually go?
Usually, we just tell ourselves to breathe through it, right? We just carry on. We do this so often in stuffy meetings, at awkward dinner tables, or just sitting on a crowded train that we kind of don't even notice we're doing it anymore. We just brush it off. We think, hey, I'm staying calm, I'm being professional, or maybe just now is not the time. But biologically speaking, we're doing something incredibly disruptive to our own bodies.
To really grasp the cost of this, we kind of have to look at the underlying mechanics. See, crying is absolutely not an emotional weakness, not at all. It's actually a deliberate, biological release of tension that's orchestrated by your vagal nerve. That's the pathway in charge of calming your body down. So it's essentially your nervous system initiating a physical discharge to let go of built-up stress through breath, sound, and movement. Think of it like your body's built-in pressure release valve.
And honestly, this is where the deep irony of our biology really kicks in. When you allow a natural cry to happen, your body uses that calming vagal pathway to successfully let go of the tension. But when you swallow that tear, you aren't just hitting a pause button or turning off the process. No way. To suppress a biological urge that incredibly strong, your body actually has to activate a sympathetic fight or flight response just to actively crush the vagal release that was trying to happen.
So, here is the absolute crucial point to take away from this. By trying to stay calm, you are literally forcing your body to create a brand new stress response, purely to stop a stress release. Let that sink in. You are hitting the gas pedal on your body's internal stress system just to force the brakes to engage. You're completely overriding the natural mechanism, and doing that, it is absolutely unequivocally not biologically neutral.
So where does all that blocked energy go? Well, neuroscientist Antonio Damasio brilliantly explains this through his concept of somatic markers. This is an idea built on literal decades of research, and it shows that our bodies continuously and physically log our emotional states as physical signals. Basically, feelings aren't just things floating around in your head. Your body is actually creating a strict physiological record of every single emotional experience that you didn't allow to complete.
Because as the saying goes, your body really does keep the score. When you override that cry, it doesn't just get filed away in the handled folder. It gets filed as an unresolved open tab. And where exactly does your body stash these incomplete cycles? It stores them physically, right in your muscles. It turns into that really stubborn jaw tension, or maybe that totally unexplained tightness you feel in your chest. It morphs into this constant low-level hum of anxiety, or those braced shoulders you constantly have to remind yourself to drop. Over time, it literally alters your baseline threat detection.
If we look at researcher Emily Nagoski's concept of the stress response cycle, we can see exactly where this emotional suppression snaps the chain. The whole cycle starts with an emotional trigger, which kicks off that vagal discharge we were just talking about. But the second you suppress it, snap. You break the chain right smack in the middle. And that leaves your nervous system totally stranded in this state of partial activation. You aren't fully stressed out, but you sure aren't fully at rest either. You're just walking around holding the heavy residue of everything you asked your body not to feel.
And honestly, this perfectly explains a weird phenomenon I am sure we've all experienced. You know that random, unexplained 11 p.m. crying session over like dropping a spoon or reading a totally minor email? It's not you being dramatic, it's just biology. That is simply your body finally finding the tiny gap you left open, and it is desperately trying to complete that physiological cycle of discharge it started hours or maybe even days ago.
But look, the good news is there is a profound, super practical off-ramp to this harmful loop. You do not have to just manufacture emotion or force yourself to sob in the middle of a meeting when it's genuinely inappropriate. The solution actually revolves entirely around the power of one single number: 3. Let's get right into it. We call it the 3-breath gap. It's a remarkably simple tool, but a total game changer. Here's how it works. When you feel that trigger hit, just let your throat tighten, let your eyes sting, and take 3 deliberate, incredibly slow breaths before you make that active decision to suppress it. That's it. Because just by doing this, you are allowing the initial physiological process to actually begin.
Even if you don't end up fully crying, simply letting the body start the response is vastly less costly to your nervous system than instantly aborting it before it even gets out of the gate.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a somewhat provocative thought to chew on. To actually heal your nervous system and manage your daily stress, you don't always have to burst into full-blown tears. Sometimes your body doesn't actually need to finish the entire cycle. Sometimes it just desperately needs you to stop bracing so hard against it. So what happens if, the next time you feel that sudden sting in your eyes, you just give yourself those 3 breaths? It might just change everything.